You wake up. Not slowly, not gently, like a switch was flipped. One moment there is nothing. Absolute black. Absolute silence. And then, your entire body is moving and you don't know why and you can't stop it. Something is wrong. Something is deeply, fundamentally wrong. You were not here before. You have no memory of arriving, but your body is here and it knows exactly what to do and it is doing it without you. Your tail sweeps left, then right, left, then right. The rhythm is older than thought. You are cutting through something cold and dark and vast, and the motion doesn't feel chosen. It feels like breathing. It feels like a heartbeat. It simply happens, and you are just along for it. Then, your senses hit you all at once, and nothing will ever be the same. You don't have ears the way you did before, but you feel sound. You feel it in your skin, in your jaw, in the fluid running through a long lateral line that traces the entire length of your body. A pressure wave rolls through the water from somewhere far ahead, and you feel it like a finger pressing into your chest. You have become a great white shark, and you have been swimming since before you could think. Researchers at the University of California, Davis have documented that great white sharks are in constant motion from the moment they are born. Unlike most animals, they cannot stop moving without suffocating. Water must pass over their gills at all times. To rest is to die. So instead, they enter a state called tonic immobility, a kind of slow cruise autopilot of the ocean. Brain half asleep, but body still working. You have been in that state, and now you are waking inside it. The ocean around you is not dark the way a room is dark. It is blue-black in every direction, layered, like looking into something that goes on forever. Shafts of diffused green-grey light fall from somewhere high above you, the surface. You know what the surface is. You know it the way you know your tail. Instinctively, completely, without having to think about it. You turn your left eye upward. That is the other thing. Your eyes are on the sides of your head. You have no binocular vision, no depth perception the way humans understand it, but you see a panoramic sweep of everything around you, nearly 340 degrees. The only blind spots are directly in front of your nose and directly behind your tail. You see light and shadow and motion with extraordinary sensitivity. A marine biologist named Dr. Samuel Gruber, who spent decades studying shark vision at the University of Miami, described sharks as essentially seeing in slow motion compared to humans. Their eyes adapted not for color, but for contrast, movement, and the faintest shifts in light at extreme depth. You see a fish. It is 100 meters away. You know this not because you measured it, but because your brain calculated it in less than a fraction of a second. The fish is small, too small, not worth the energy. You don't decide to ignore it. The decision is simply not made and your body continues forward. Something else, a vibration, low, rhythmic, coming from the left. Not a pressure wave, something different, something electric. You turn toward it. Every shark carries in the skin around its snout a network of tiny gel-filled pores called the ampullae of Lorenzini. They detect electrical fields. Every living creature generates a bioelectric field, the tiny signals passing between muscles and nerves, and you can feel those fields through the water the way a human might feel warmth from a fire. Dr. Ad Kalmeen, a Dutch biophysicist, demonstrated in a landmark study in the 1970s that sharks can detect electrical signals as faint as 5 billionths of a volt per centimeter. That is the faintest electrical sense of any known animal on Earth. You are following a heartbeat. You don't know this. You don't think in words. But something in the deep architecture of your brain, something laid down hundreds of millions of years before the first human ever walked the Earth, is reading the signal and pulling your body toward it. You swim. The thing about swimming as a shark, and this is the part no film, no documentary, no photograph has ever really conveyed, is that it is not effortful. It is not the way humans swim, which is an exhausting fight against buoyancy and drag. Your body is shaped by 400 million years of iteration. You are nearly neutrally buoyant because your liver, Enormous, taking up nearly a quarter of your total body weight, it's filled with a low-density oil called squalene. You coast, you drift. Forward motion costs almost nothing. You are the most efficient predator in the ocean, and then you smell it. Not smell exactly. Not the way humans understand smell. You don't inhale. But water flows continuously into paired nostrils on the underside of your snout. And the chemical receptors inside them are so sensitive that researchers estimate great whites can detect a single part of blood in 10 billion parts of water. That is one drop in an Olympic swimming pool. And you aren't just detecting it, you are triangulating it. The water reaches your left nostril a fraction of a second before your right, and your brain uses that delay to calculate the exact direction of the source. You turn. Your body leans into the current like a plane banking through clouds. Far ahead, something is struggling. You cannot see it yet, but the chemicals are telling you a story. Something wounded, something bleeding, something losing the fight against its own body. The signal grows stronger with every sweep of your tail. You accelerate. This is the moment humans fear. This is the image. The fin cutting the surface. The shadow rising from below. But from inside, it is not violent. It is not savage. It is something older and quieter than either of those words. You are not angry. You are not cruel. You are simply what you are, doing the only thing you know. You rise, the light gets brighter, the pressure shifts, your body reads the change automatically and adjusts your angle without thought. You are now 40 meters below the surface, then 30, then 20. The shape ahead of you resolves. A sea lion, spinning in slow circles, one flipper trailing behind it, a dark cloud diffusing into the current from somewhere near its side. You do not slow down. Researchers studying great white shark predation off the Farallon Islands, a rocky cluster of islands off the coast of San Francisco, discovered something that changed how biologists thought about shark intelligence. Dr. A. Peter Klimley and his colleagues found that great whites don't attack randomly. They observe first, they circle, they analyze the target's behavior, its speed, its injury, its capacity to fight back. In some cases, they abandon the hunt entirely if the prey seems capable of resistance. They are not mindless. They are calculating. You are calculating now. The sea lion is wounded. It is confused. It is slowing down. You have seen this before. Not this individual, not this moment, but something in your neural architecture has catalogued millions of years of similar encounters and arrived at the same conclusion your ancestors always did. You close the final distance in under 2 seconds. What happens next lasts less than a heartbeat. And then you are circling, patient, waiting. This is the part that surprises people, that the great white does not immediately consume its prey. After the initial strike, they often withdraw. They wait for the prey to stop moving, for the blood loss to do the work, for the struggle to end. Scientists believe this is protective behavior. A thrashing sea lion can seriously injure a shark's eyes or gills. So you circle, and you wait. And in that waiting for just a moment, you think, not in words, not in plans, but something passes through whatever architecture you have for awareness, something that might be called the oldest version of patience. Below you, the deep opens up into absolute dark. Above you, the light fractures and bends through the surface. And if there were a person standing on a boat up there, looking down, they would see only a slow, dark shape moving in long, wide circles. And they would feel something ancient and nameless twist in their chest, something written into the deepest part of their nervous system, long before language, long before thought. They would feel what you are. They would understand at the level of the body and not the mind what it means to be prey. You are not the villain of the ocean. That story was written by people who could only see from one side of the surface. In reality, sharks like you have been filtering and regulating the health of marine ecosystems for longer than humans have existed. Dr. Ransom Myers at Dalhousie University published research showing that when shark populations collapse, and they have in dozens of regions due to finning and bycatch, the entire food web beneath them destabilizes within years. Rays explode in population, destroy seagrass beds, collapse the fish populations that entire coastal communities depend on. You are not a monster. You are the reason the ocean works. You complete another circle. The surface catches the light again, and for a fraction of a second, your eye rolls backward as you rise. The nictitating membrane, a protective white film, sliding across your eye in the moment of feeding. The only moment of blindness in your whole life, a moment that lasts less than a breath. And then it is over, and you are moving again. Left, right, left, right. The rhythm is older than thought. You wake up, and somewhere far above the surface, in a different life, in a body that breathes air and fears the dark and has never once felt an electrical heartbeat from 200 meters away, something in you remembers what it felt like to be the ocean's oldest certainty. And you are afraid of the water in a way you never quite were before.